Hello. Just getting some technical stuff settled while I wait for some of you to arrive. Okay. Welcome, welcome. It's always so awkward to start one of these when you're just waiting for people to arrive because you feel like you're talking to yourself. So if you're here and can hear me okay, can you just comment in the comments below so I know that I can be heard? I want to make sure my new microphone's working okay. Oh gosh, I just saw that they now have like masks and dare I even play with this? Probably a terrible idea to play with the masks, right? Hey Laura, Happy New Year to you. Can you hear me okay, Laura? I'm just trying a new mic and I want to make sure you can hear me. Can you hear me? Okay. Let me see. All right, so I am just going to vamp here for a bit. I shouldn't play with new tools while I'm on this. Oh, good, you can. Thanks, Laura. Welcome. Welcome. It's good to see you guys here. I'm excited to talk about anything but resolutions because I am not a fan of resolutions at all. I've never been. Well, I shouldn't say that. Way back in the day. Hey, Tara. Way back in the day, I would make resolutions just because, it's what you're supposed to do. And then, I would read back into old journals and I would think, wow, my resolutions were the same every year. And I never really celebrated any success with them. So, so I wanted to talk about something else. So for those of you who are here or are listening to the replay, my name is Carrie Richardson. I am a lifestyle designer and coach. And I work with clients to help them basically get from where they are to where they want to be, whatever that looks like in their life. And my fresh perspective can help them see past obstacles and blocks and kind of see things in a new light. And we also come up with a concrete action plan to move you forward to the goal of your choice. Tonight, I'm going to be talking a bit about setting goals for the new year in a different way. Not the resolution old school way. We're going to remix it a little bit. So if you haven't yet grabbed my free New Year workbook, I encourage you to do that. Actually, if I can't type while I'm doing this. So, hey, Dougal. Hello, hello. So the website, if someone can type it in the comments, that would be awesome. It's carrierrichardson.com/new-year-plan. That'd be great. Cindy says I'm frozen. Am I frozen for anyone else? If it's just you, Cindy, I would refresh. I don't know that you did anything wrong in case I am frozen. So I have a free e-workbook at that URL that will hopefully be coming up in the comments section any moment. And it's going to expand more. Thank you, Laura. Oh, I'm sorry, Laura. It's actually carrierrichardson.com did I say slash? New-year-plan. I may have said slash. Anyway, but thank you so much. So I'm going to be talking tonight about a radical new approach to setting goals because I'm really not a fan of the resolution thing. I feel like resolutions kick off the new year from a place of almost shame or like a focus on what's wrong with me instead of how I really want this next year to feel. So I do something a little bit different and have for a few years now that I like to set, thanks, Dougal. I like to, and there's also, let me just say this, if you go to my homepage, carrierrichardson.com, there's a little bar that will pop up that will direct you to the page as well. So I like to list something called stretch zone adventures instead of resolutions. And so what I do in this little workbook, I know it's going to be backwards because I'm on Facebook, but that's what it's going to look like if you sign up for my free little workbook there. And let me also say that with the free workbook, you get membership into my free Stretch Zone Adventurers Facebook group, where we check in throughout the year to just see how you're doing with stretching out of your comfort zone. So I'm going to say all that again at the end to wrap up, but I wanted to talk a bit now about my approach to the New Year goals. What I first like to do, and I think this is really important, and it's something that we hear suggested to us all the time, but we rarely sit down and actually do it, is to list some of your wins or successes from the previous year. Now, in my workbook that you'll get when you sign up, I encourage you to list 16 successes from 2016. I know that sounds like a whole lot, and it's like, what, are you nuts? Like, it's tough, I'm not going to lie. It's tough to come up with that many successes, but here's the important thing. The more you learn to recognize successes, it makes you a magnet for even more. So when you get used to recognizing your successes, you become a success magnet. It's that whole thoughts become things, right? So instead of always, that's why I don't like resolutions, because resolutions, you're starting off your goal setting by looking at what's wrong in your life, what's not working in your life. And when we focus on that, we tend to attract that. You know, it's like, this is the example I always use. So, you know, when you learn a new word and you suddenly see it everywhere. It's like, oh my God, look at that. There's that word again. I never noticed that word there. You didn't magically make that word appear in that paragraph or on that sign or in that talk, but you noticed it because you had just learned it. So it's like your vision was sharpened. The focus was sharpened to that word because it's now part of your vocabulary. It's now part of your world, so you're going to see it. It's the same thing when you really push yourself down to write down 16 successes from 2016. Then you start to notice all the other gems in your life and all the other successes, and it makes goal setting and goal attaining much more easy. So, and they can be big, they can be little. So in the little booklet, I give you examples. So it can be, you know, spent time with supportive friends is an example I gave in here, or exercised more, spent time in nature, paid off a bill, painted the bathroom. Like, there can be a wide variety of successes. It doesn't have to be anything huge, although you can have huge stuff on there too. But remember that successes are just any little wins you had throughout the year. You know, maybe you were a little bit more vulnerable with friends than you ever had been before. Maybe you drank more water on a daily basis. I mean, it can be anything, right? The important thing is to just sit down and acknowledge them. When you acknowledge those wins, not only do you just naturally attract more success, but you also make that resistant part of you feel a little bit more excited to be on board. Hey, Sharon, welcome. Happy New Year. That part of you that feels really afraid, that resistant part of you, that inner critic, that inner child, the superego, whatever you want to call it, that part of you who is really resistant to change is going to feel more excited and more on board the more you celebrate your successes. That part of us who, you know, when we do the resolution thing, that same part of us starts to feel like our love is conditional. That if we, only when we attain these goals or have this or have that, will we then be worthy enough for love. So that's what we don't want to teach ourselves. And that's the other great thing that looking for wins or looking for successes can help you to do. Help you to kind of get that resistance on board with setting these goals. So just start out listing some goals from 2016, and I really challenge you to push it to 16 goals. Like, really try to do the 16. And again, they can be big or small, doesn't matter. So that's kind of the step one part of this new approach to goal setting. So listing those successes. Then after you've listed the successes, I want you to think about what would a big, scary, audacious goal be for 2017. What's something that for you feels big and scary? Like, you know those things that you dream of doing that makes you feel scared and excited? That to me is always a winning combo. If you're feeling excited and scared, go for it. You should have a little bit of fear in there, right? It means that you're stepping out of your comfort zone, which is the whole point of this. What we'll talk about in just a minute. The more you step out of your comfort zone, the bigger your comfort zone becomes. The bigger your comfort zone becomes, the more willing you are to take risks and to try something new and to say yes to something you may have said no to before. And the more you do that, the more cool things just start to happen, and like things fall into place, and it's like you get into that flow. You know, when you're in that flow and you just feel like things are just jiving, that things are really cruising. It's that when you're willing to take more risks and step out of that comfort zone more, it's like shit just happens. It's just so cool. So think about what is a big, scary, audacious goal for 2017. Now again, for you, it can be anything. For someone, it might be, I want to, hike the 7 tallest mountains in the world. Like that might be someone's. For someone else, it might be that, I want to have 50% more clients in my business than I do now. That could be a BSAG, a big, scary, audacious goal. Hey, Lise. Hey, Alyssa. I just saw some people joined. So it can be, I'll visit at least one new country this year, or I'll become an expert on asking for help, or I'll practice disappointing people. Yes, that can be a goal. And for a lot of people, it should be. People who just say yes all the time. But like really think about what would be a big goal for you this year. Just be careful to not frame it from the place of, I'm not enough. Frame it from the place of, yeah, I would love to be able to do that. Like, you want the goal to be something like, I'd love to do that, but geez, I just don't know if I could. So have it be big, have it be scary, have it be audacious. And when you set that as kind of the benchmark for the year, hey, Mary, when you set that benchmark for the year, and like, this is the goal I'm going to be going toward, be sure to ask yourself when you set that goal, why is that goal important to you? I think that's the other critical part of setting any kind of goals, not resolutions, any kind of goals. Why is that goal important to you? So when I talk to clients and they're like, well, my big, scary, audacious goal for the year is really to get down to my wedding weight, let's say. And I'll say, okay, great. So why is that important to you? Well, because I want to be thin. All right, why is that important to you? Well, because I want to feel better about the way I look. Great, why? We keep doing that why to chisel down to really what's important to you. Well, because I want to be healthy and I want to feel strong and I want to, up my chances for, healthy golden years. Or when you start to look at the why a goal is important to you, it makes you much more likely to be committed to it. Instead of these empty resolutions of, oh, I'm going to save more money, or, oh, I'm going to lose weight, or whatever the other top typical resolutions are. It just sounds like lip service at this point, right? So you've got to tap into the why. Why is this goal important to me? Why do I want to visit at least one new country a year? Why do I want 50% more clients in my business than I do now? Why do I need to get better at asking for help? Like tapping into that why, just like celebrating your successes helps that resistant part of you get on board, get on this train. Tapping into the why goals are important to you helps that part of you understand your motivation, why you want to do something the way you do. It can help that part of you to wrap its brain around this, and again, get on board. So think about, what your big, scary, audacious goal is for the year. And again, this is all in the workbook, carrierichardson.com/new-year-plan. I think, Melissa, if you happen to be on the video here, if you can just put that in the comments one more time so people can see it. carrierichardson.com/new-year-plan. That's the direct page to go to sign up for the free workbook. That's going to talk about what we're talking about tonight and just give you tangible actions to take to help put this into place. Okay, so we've covered step 1, 16 successes in 2016. Step 2, big, scary, audacious goal. And when you set that goal, ask yourself, why is this goal even important to me? Step 3, stretch zone adventures. Oh, thanks, Melissa. That's Melissa. It's my wife. Thanks. So step 3, stretch zone adventures. So we want you to list, and again, you don't have to remember all this, it's in the book, 10 stretch zone adventures related to your big, scary, audacious goal, right? We're going to go a little bit crazy on acronyms right now. So 10 SZAs for your BSAG. With me? So stretch zone adventures, this is what I focus on instead of resolutions. As I said a little bit at the top of our chat here, I look at ways that I can intentionally step outside of my comfort zone every year so my comfort zone gets bigger. And so truly the world becomes my oyster. So when you think about stretch zone adventures, think about them in relation to your big, scary, audacious goal. So using the example, let me just consult my little handy workbook here. Let's see. One moment, please. Okay. Yeah, you'll just have to read it in the book. It's in there. So, for instance, let's say that one of your big scary goal for 2017 is to put yourself out there more, to not hold back as much anymore. And so maybe if you're in business for yourself, maybe that means getting professional headshots done. That would be an example of a stretch zone goal, right? A stretch zone adventure to support your big scary goal. So think about what is it that I can do that feels scary to me, but just a little scary, that supports my bigger goal. If you want 50% more clients in your business than you have currently, what is something scary? Maybe it's a Facebook Live like this, right? What is something that you can do that feels a little bit scary, but moves you toward your goal of upping your client base by 50%? It might be that you put together a little workbook and offer that free to subscribers on your list. Getting headshots done, doing a Facebook Live. These are examples of stretch zone adventures for someone whose goal is to up their business. So that's what I want you to think about. What are your stretch zone adventures in relation to your goal? The cool thing, one of the very cool things about stretch zone adventures I have found in my years of doing them is that how you think you're stretching yourself is not at all how you're stretching yourself. I'll give you an example. So a few years back, one of my stretch zone adventures was to try skiing. I had never skied before in my life. I had tried snowboarding once before. And again, when I say snowboarding and skiing, I'm talking bunny hill. Never went down a mountain in my life. Really have no desire to. I learned that after trying skiing. But anyway, so I live in New England, up in New Hampshire. I don't know if they do this every year, but this particular year, they had, I think the month of January or a couple weeks in January was like a free ski period to like get new skiers to ski. So there were certain mountains that offered you free lift ticket for the smaller slope, for free equipment rental, and a free lessons. So I thought, oh my God, okay, well, how can I not take this opportunity? Hey, Jen. Let me just pause. Mary, I saw your question. I sent the workbook out to all of my subscribers who are already subscribed, so that would have come in a different message. But I'll make a note. Just, you know what, send me an email, Mary, to let me know, and I'll email it to you directly because I know you're on the list. So I went to try skiing. Probably I'm not sure of your question. So I went to try skiing. I'm just going to wrap up this story. And so it was a free lesson, free equipment rental, and free lift ticket. So Melissa and I went, and I thought, wow, this is really going to be good. This is going to be a way that I can stretch myself. This will be scary. And so I went there. As I was driving up there, I thought, I'm not as nervous as I thought I would be. I felt a little excited. I felt a little nervous, so I knew that was a good sign, but I was mostly excited. We get up there, we get our equipment, we check in, get our lift ticket. Melissa has snowboarded for years, and so she knew what she was doing, so she helped me get my boots on and get all geared up. And then as we're heading outside for the lesson, I don't know why I didn't give this any thought. Why I thought the free lesson would be a private one, don't know. So we get to the mountain, we get out to the lesson, and there's a group of people there. I know that sounds like no big deal to anyone else. I'm freaking out. I'm like, who are all these people? What the hell's going on? And then I realized, like, oh, of course, these are other people who signed up for all of this free stuff. I'm not going to be learning just me, Melissa, and an instructor. There's going to be a group of people there. Well, that inner child, that younger part of me was like, oh, hell no, get out of here. And I thought, I just drove 2 hours here. I'm not turning around and leaving. And so my stretch zone adventure, what I thought was going to be to try skiing, ended up being learning how to look foolish and be vulnerable in front of a group of strangers. I had no idea that that's what I signed up for. But what was really cool about the day, now let me just, I'm not going to Pollyanna this, it was an absolute shit show. It was. I didn't do a good job. I don't like skiing. I have terrible balance anyway, which I know, use it or lose it. I got to use it more. But listen, skiing's not for me. I gave it a shot. But I definitely when I look back now, I can see that I survived the unbelievable embarrassment that I faced falling in front of these people, because I thought, you know what, they're all taking a lesson too. Maybe they're all beginners. So I don't know if you all do this, but I was like scanning the crowd going, okay, who looks like they suck as much as me? So I don't feel so stupid. And I thought, she looks like she knows what she's doing because she's already on, she's skiing around. Oh, he looks shaky. Maybe he sucks as much as me. You look for someone to connect with that, hopefully someone that you won't be the worst one in the group. I was the worst one in the group. It's fine. But you know what? I was the worst one in the group, I think, because I got into my head too much about this feeling of too many eyes on me. The instructor would have us practice turns one at a time, which meant I'm in front of everybody. I fall on my ass. I smack my head. And isn't it amazing how, like, embarrassment trumps pain? I was in so much pain when I smacked my head, but I was more embarrassed that I was just trying to, like, get up quickly, like, oh no, I'm fine, I'm fine. I was actually really quite dizzy and nauseous from the smack on the head. So when I look back at that day, I thought, man, I thought that stretch zone adventure was trying skiing. And it really was about being vulnerable in front of people and learning that I'll be okay. The beautiful moment that came from that day was there was a little girl there. I don't know if she was like 8 or 9 years old. And I had taken a break. I told Melissa to go ski a little bit. I just needed some time alone. So I was leaning up against the ski racks where people were putting their skis. And I was just feeling really defeated. And this young girl skied over to me. And she said, hey, you look like you're not having a really great time. And I said, no, I'm really not, And she said, well, would it be okay if I gave you some advice? Now, let me just pause there and say, for an 8 or 9-year-old to even know to ask permission, like, it was just such a beautiful thing. So anyway, I said, sure, go ahead. And she said, I used to be a beginner too, and I would fall, and I would fall a lot. And my instructor would remind me that it was good to fall because every time I fell, I was learning something. So I said to her, well, I guess I'm learning a lot. And she said, right, but every time you fall, you learn a little bit more than you did before. And she was right. I had learned, like, when I feel like I'm about to fall, leaning back is not the thing you do. Leaning forward is. I would always lean back, I would fall. So I was like, yeah, you're right. She's like, so I just say, don't give up and give it a shot. You'll get there. And I said, oh, thank you so much. And she skied off. And I thought, here's this little angel who comes into my life. She's this little girl. I wrote a blog post about this a while ago, and I have a picture of she and I in the blog post. And I thought, you know what? It was almost like the 8-year-old little Carrie skied up to me, but in this other little girl's body, and just said, hey, listen, you're doing fine. Like, get out there. Give it another shot. And I did a couple more, but I took better care of myself. I said to Melissa, I want to go out there and try again, but I want it to just be me and you, nobody else. And we did. Melissa would stand in front of me. I would ski a little bit, knowing that if I had trouble stopping, she was right there to catch me. So in that moment, that younger part of myself that was so scared took good care of me when that young girl came over, and I took good care of her by setting myself up in a way that I could be cared for by having just Melissa and I ski. So that's a long story to tell you that stretch zone adventures, when you decide what they're going to be in relation to your big, scary, audacious goal for the year, you will end up benefiting more from those adventures than you ever imagined you would. There's going to be hidden benefits that you cannot know until you do them. That's the power of taking action. Hey, Liz. Hey, Joe. Oh, it's good to see people here that I know. You can really benefit from taking action in that way. You'll see results that come out and perks that you couldn't have anticipated. So coming up with 10 stretch zone adventures that support your big goal for the year is really key. And again, all in the little workbook I put together for you that you'll have for free, membership to the Facebook group for free. I just want to support people in living out loud more. And I think this is really going to help. So once you have your list of 10 stretch zone adventures, you want to make sure you schedule them. Now, you don't have to be rigid like, Thursday, January 15th between 2 and 3. But what I've done in the workbook here is you have a spot to list your 10 adventures. And then in the scheduling part of it, I've listed 10 months, January through October. So you can start by loosely scheduling one a month and just saying, okay, you know what? Like I did, like in January, I'm going to do the skiing thing. In February, I'm going to do this. And, it's fluid, so you can move things around. The one thing I don't want you to give yourself, though, is an option to not do them. You can tweak them and fine-tune them as you go because, future ones are going to change as a result of doing the ones that you're doing now. So you can tweak them as you go, but really don't give yourself the option of not doing it. Hello, Amy. Do those things that intentionally stretch you outside of your comfort zone. You want to grow that comfort zone, where anything that you feel tentative about, and again, it's going to be different for everyone, For someone, a huge stretch zone might be taking a flight somewhere, like getting on a plane for the first time, or it might be, smiling at a stranger. It might be asking for help at the grocery store. It might be bungee jumping. It really depends on who you are. You know the limits of your comfort zone, but we want to get you into your stretch zone. I learned this whole concept from Melissa. Melissa used to work in experiential education, and she would talk about your comfort zone, your stretch zone, your panic zone. And I have found, when I put it in that context with my work with clients, the real sweet spot is the stretch zone. Like that's where the magic happens. When it's more than just doing something that feels scary. It's about kicking up and stirring up the stale energy. When you do the same old, you do become like this hamster on a wheel and you operate from autopilot and life becomes really dull. And that's when time passes by quickly, right? And you think, holy shit, how are we already in 2017? Where did that year go? If you find that a lot of your months or years are a blur, there's a good chance you're on autopilot and you need to shake things up a little bit. It doesn't have to be major shakeups. It can be little ones. Find little ways to do something a little bit different. I tell people, to start stirring up stale energy can be as easy as taking a different route home from work, or going to the gym at a different time of the day, or doing something that just feels not so routine can stir up some of that stale energy. And man, you will start to see action happen around you. It's like, this isn't woo-woo or like airy-fairy stuff. It really is science. I mean, the whole world is an energetic conversation. So when you intentionally step out of your comfort zone and get into your stretch zone, you are stirring up stale energy, and you'll be amazed at what comes your way. Just like things in life just start to feel easier to do, things that maybe were challenging in the past. Not to mention your mental state is amazing how it changes. I have been, for longer than I care to admit, I have been off the wagon when it comes to exercise and eating better. And Melissa and I went for our annual beach walk yesterday, January 1st of every year. We do a beach walk, bundle up and go. And after it, you could tell we both just were more animated. We were more plugged into life. We felt like happier, more energetic from one walk on the beach. And it's like, and I know it's because we stirred up stale energy. The stale energy of the holidays where you're just kind of going from event to event, or, just being sedentary quite a bit, eating a lot of sugar, The power of stirring up stale energy cannot be overstated. I mean, it's amazing. So find ways to do stretch zone adventures outside of your comfort zone. Once you have scheduled them, the final thing you want to remember is to break down any of those stretch zone adventures that you feel need to be broken down. If you come up with a stretch zone adventure that just feels really difficult or impossible, don't dismiss it entirely. Instead, go, okay, what would be one small step I could take toward doing that? You know, if you have a stretch zone adventure of, you know, taking your first flight, you can say, okay, you know, if that's something that really scares you, let's say, you know, a first step you can do is to find like a fear of flying online course that you can take, or talk to people who are frequent flyers and ask them a bunch of questions, or do a vision board about the destination you're going to go to when you get on that plane. Those can be stretch zone adventures within the big one. So make sure that when you make your list of those stretch zone adventures, that they're not so big and unattainable that you're not likely to do them. If they feel difficult or too hard to do, break them down. Just break them down a little bit more. It's not that you don't have what it takes, or all that crap that that voice tells us, that you don't have what it takes, that you'll never do it, you never finish what you start, all that bullshit that we tell ourselves. It's a really good chance that your expectations are just too high. You just need to step it down a little bit. So that is a quick summary. So I want people to write in the comments if you have, first of all, if you have any questions about this concept. I'm going to ask Melissa one final time to put the URL, because I know the comments scroll and sometimes you can't see them. If she can put the website of the free ebook back into the comments section, carrierichardson.com/new-year-plan. You just plug your name and email address in there. You'll get this emailed to you free, this handy little notebook. You can print it right off, do the exercises right in it. I really want you to think about setting goals for the new year from a place of adventure and excitement, and really tapping into the why. Thanks, Melissa. Really tapping into the why that goal is important to you, instead of from the resolution place, which is, here's where I suck at life and here's where I need to be better. Like, yeah, exactly, Deanna. Positive approach. I mean, starting from long-term change never comes from a self-punitive place. I tell my clients that all the time. If you start from a self-punitive place of, oh my God, I've got to lose this weight, or oh my God, I've got to stop spending, or that is not the place to start from. It's not, long-standing change will never come from that. But it comes from loving yourself right where you're at, which is the tapping into the why of the goals, right? Loving yourself right where you're at, so you care enough about yourself to make that change. That's why that all or nothing thinking never works. I'm telling you, with all or nothing thinking, nothing always wins. Always wins. So be careful. It's our fear that makes us go all or nothing, A to Z, black or white. It's our fear that does that. So if you can find a place in the middle there, right in that gray of like, wait a minute, what would my choices be? You always have choices. If it's, you know, oh God, I really have to clean the house. Well, no, you don't have to. You have a choice. I can clean the house. You know, I also talk to my clients about the power of changing should to could. So if it's, I should really clean the house. Feel how that feels in your body. I should clean the house, or I should go to the gym, or I should eat better. Compare that to how it feels when you say, I could clean the house. I could go to the gym. I could eat better. It gives the power back to you. I just need a sip of what looks like a nice cocktail. It's really just ginger ale and cranberry juice. And maybe a little vodka. No, I'm just kidding. You know, it's a real power shift, this should to could. It takes the power from the thing, the house, the gym, the food, and gives it back to you. I could go to the gym. I could clean the house. I could eat better. It's really, it brings the power back to you. So, should, could, flip that. Okay, Susan says, I really want to get rid of all the stuff in storage that is hard to deal with. Oh yeah, Susan, if you're familiar with me at all, I love clutter. I love to get rid of clutter. Let me say that. So I'll shift that. So for the clutter thing, there's another free ebook if you sign up to my newsletter that you'll get about clutter. I also have an ebook coming out with Hay House in the fall called Own Your Stuff, Uncover the Secrets in Your Clutter and Reclaim Your Life. And it talks about that, Susan, about, that stuff that you have in storage, looking at what is it about that stuff that's so hard to deal with? What makes it hard to deal with? Are you, look and see, why am I keeping it? Am I keeping it out of guilt, obligation? Is it because I spent a lot of money on it? Is it that I might need this someday syndrome? Look and see why you're keeping that stuff. That's going to help you get rid of it faster. Find out what role it's playing in your life. If it wasn't playing a role, it wouldn't be there. So trust me when I tell you it's playing a role in your life. It's just determining what that role is. Will make it much more easy to get rid of. So what other kinds of goals do you all have? Or, when you think about a big goal for the year, an example I have, my big, scary, audacious goal for the year is to complete the building of our tiny house and to move back up to northern New England. So that's my big, scary, audacious goal. And I have some ideas of what my stretch zone adventures will be. I've already completed one of them. So looking at what other steps I need to take to make sure that happens. Yeah. So Susan, this is just scrolling. Oh, there it is. Emotional stuff after my accident I can no longer do, and mom stuff after she died. It is hard to let go of the past, Susan. You're right. But sometimes it's really, really beneficial to let go of the past. If it's hard to let go of the past because the stuff you have from the past, it has fond memories attached to it, look and see how you can recreate that feeling in your life today, and you won't need the stuff anymore. I understand that, getting rid of mom's stuff after she passed, that can be really difficult, but trust me when I tell you that she's up there going, please don't keep that shit out of obligation. Please do not. So she would much rather you keep it because you love it and not because you feel bad getting rid of it. She's in a much higher plane now, vibrating at a whole different level. So she's looking down on us at the earthly plane going, oh, that stuff does not matter. I'm still with you even if the stuff is gone. So Dina's big goal, to give life to my nonprofit. Awesome, Dina. Love that. Love that. So that's your big, scary, audacious goal, right? Now we want you to come up with 10 tasks, 10 stretch zone adventures that you can do to support that beautiful goal of getting your nonprofit launched. Come up with 10 things you need to do that feel a little scary, but that will benefit your nonprofit and will add to the launch, will help the launch of it. So would love for you to, you can share it if you're part of the Stretch Zone Adventurers Facebook group. Once you sign up to get this, you'll get a link to the group, which you can then join. It's free to be in. I'll be in there throughout the year, chatting and cheering everyone on. So yeah, I love that, Dina. What other goals do people have for 2017? Or what are some examples of things you can do that are outside of your comfort zone? Chat away in the comment box, or we'll wrap it up. Getting myself a car through GoFundMe. That's Deanna's big, audacious goal, getting myself a car through GoFundMe. Great. So under that goal, Deanna, look and see what are my stretch zone adventures. What do I need to do to make that happen? Anytime we have a big goal, like any of the action steps are going to feel a little bit scary because the goal feels scary but exciting. Like imagine if you were able to successfully get that car. Dina, imagine if you were able to successfully launch your nonprofit. And I believe you all can absolutely do this. Know that fear and excitement are just opposite sides of the same coin. So Mary, I am launching a Facebook Live transformational talk show this month. Oh my God, that's so cool, Mary. Love that. So that's a big goal. Love it. Facebook Live transformational talk show. Fantastic, Mary. Love that. So if you're launching it this month, you've probably done a lot of your stretch zone adventures already. So maybe look and see what you anticipate the trajectory of that talk show to be and what you can do to support that throughout the year. That's really cool. Amy, to move on after a divorce and live life again. That's a really great goal, Amy. Like, that's a big one and totally doable. So, like, I would want you to look at, what does live life again mean to me? Like, what is moving on after a divorce and living life again mean to me? So sharpen that picture first. I think that'll make it easier for you to then come up with your stretch zone adventures. First, determine, what does that look like for you? If you were to live life again, yeah, I feel like if you clarify that, the list of stretch zone adventures will come much more easily. And I think you'll just feel much more excited and connected to that goal. It's a big change, but man, it's like this opportunity for a whole new chapter to unfold in your life. So while I'm sure it feels bittersweet, trusting that you're a wise woman who knew what the right decision was for you, then you have this great clean slate, this opportunity of a beautiful clean slate. So go get 'em, girl. I support you. Awesome. Mary, if I hadn't gone through my divorce, I would not have been able to birth my new talk show. Too much emotional clutter. Carrie helped me work through. Oh, Mary, I'm so glad that helped. Yeah, so see that, Amy? If Mary hadn't gone through her divorce, she would not have been able to birth this new talk show. And now she can, which is just awesome. Like, she created the space for that. Just like I imagine, Amy, with the divorce, like, what did you just create space for? Like, oh my gosh, like, I bet you can't wait to see what comes in now that this space is cleared. So, Susan, learning to cook my healthy foods for variety, making a ball gown for dance class without having to get all the perfect supplies and doing it just right. Awesome. Awesome. Love those. Lori, to live in alignment with what I believe and write about and build a blog. Awesome, Lori. So again, that's that big goal. Love it. Now make sure you break it down. You want to, to set yourself up for success, to actually get this stuff done, you've got to make the steps attainable. So just like I said to Amy about clarifying what living life again looks like to her, I want you to clarify, what does living in alignment with what you believe mean to you, so you can write about it. And then look at the logistical, technical steps about what does it take to build your blog. What do you need to do to do that, to build that blog? So those would be your stretch zone adventures. Wendy, I need to pare back on my stuff to be more mobile in case I need to move to be closer to my aging parents. Yeah, Wendy, I love the paring down thing. I actually, in one of my clutter groups, I just shared a little game so there's two guys and they're called the Minimalists. I think if you go to just Google search the Minimalists and you'll find them.
Theminimalist.com.
The Minimalist, what is it, the Minimalist?
Theminimalists.com.
Thanks, that's Melissa. Theminimalists.com. So if you go to their website, first of all, they have a great documentary that's on Netflix right now, I would recommend watching. Even if you don't strive to be a minimalist, it's just a really cool documentary to see the power of our stuff owning us. But they have a little game for the year that they suggested, and it's a decluttering game. So this will help you, Wendy, as well as Susan. Yeah, Wendy and Susan. And anyone else. So the idea is on January 1, you get rid of one item. January 2, you get rid of 2 items, and so on. So with January 3rd, you get rid of 3, etc. It's a cool way to just like really start the ball rolling with paring back on your stuff. And let me just say, before your resistance tells you, well, I guess I missed my opportunity because it's already January 2nd, you can jump into the game right now. So find 2 items today that you want to pare back, that you want to get rid of. Start a box for donations and just put the stuff right in it. And so tomorrow you'll find 3 things. The next day you'll find 4 things. It's really kind of cool and fun. Don't anticipate, like I'm doing it, and I don't have a lot to pare down just because we're going to be moving into a tiny house, so we're pretty pared down, but there's always stuff we can get rid of, especially after the holidays, right? When new stuff comes in. But, you just have that little donation box out, and it's like, it's a nice way to go. It's a fun little game. Like, ooh, I can just get rid of 2 things today. Well, what are my 2 things going to be? Like, it's kind of a cool little treasure hunt. I'm just starting it today, so I missed yesterday too, but that's not going to stop me from diving in. So, so I would encourage everyone, because I'll tell you, I put some statistics in my book that's coming out for Hay House this year, and it's about decluttering. It's amazing. There's more storage units in the United States, at least. The square footage of storage units in the United States that are full are equal to the size of the island of Manhattan. Like, we have a lot of stuff. People think that they don't have enough space for their stuff. They have too much stuff for their space. But I digress. I can tangent off to clutter like nobody's business, because it's a topic I'm passionate about. But yeah, so Susan, try that minimalist game. Again, it's minimalistsPlural.com. Minimalism is the name of the documentary on Netflix. But yeah, it's that is the game. 1 yesterday, 2 today, 3 tomorrow. Those are the basics of the game. So that's all you really need to know. It's a great way to declutter. Hey, Lois. Melissa, your Aunt Lois is here. It's great. Cool. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with me as long as you have. Really appreciate it. Remember, in the comments, you'll find the URL. Actually, Melissa, one last time, can you put it in? If you go to this URL that's going to show up in the comments now, you can just plug your name and email address in. It'll get you to this book. You can get a free copy of that workbook, get you free access to the Facebook group. So it's carrierichardsson.com/new-year-plan. Oh, she's already ahead of me. Look at that. Awesome. I'm Sharon, starting over, beginning a new life in a new stance. Sharon, I'm sorry, I can only see part of your comment. First, and let me just say, I'm so sorry about the loss of your husband. It's so difficult. But please, since we didn't get a chance to talk here, Sharon, go ahead and jump on that link, grab this ebook, and then you can come into the free Stretch Zone Adventurers Facebook group where we can chat some more. So I wish you all a great 2017. Let's stay in touch in the new year. I hope to be doing more Facebook Lives so we can chat more. So thanks, everybody. And also one last thing. Please feel free to share this video, because even though when it's recorded, people can watch the replay. So go ahead and share this video. I really appreciate it. I think a lot of people could help with starting the new year off on a more positive note instead of resolutions. So great. Thanks so much, everyone. I'll talk with you soon. Bye.